This Zoom service is being recorded and it is streaming live to YouTube. For those of you in the sanctuary or in the building today, please turn the sound off on any devices you have, or just turn those devices off altogether. Please also note you can see the subtitles on the screen at the front of the room, and you'll be able to view the chat during the sharing from the heart portion of the service. For those of you online, I hope you will find a chalice or a candle, and in a moment we can light them together. Thank you all for your grace and adaptability as we all remember it's about connection, not perfection.
Good morning. Our morning song this morning is going to be offered by the choir, singing Gather at the River, an arrangement by Brian Tate. So you can find the lyrics, I believe, posted in the chat, and we will sing here from the Commons. Maybe our last time from the Commons, we'll see. Here we go.
Gather at the river, everybody. 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 Gather at the river.
Good morning. Welcome to the worship service of the Olympia Unitarian Universalist Congregation. Our OUUC community comes together in the mutual promises and possibilities of our covenant. We envision an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to work towards our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. Thank you for choosing to attend today. My name is Ann Colbury. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a member of the worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is our guest minister, Carrie Kopnick, and Troy Fisher, our music director. Our minister, Reverend Mary, is doing a pulpit exchange by leading worship on Zoom with the Tri-Cities UU congregation. Reverend Carrie is happy to be coming home to OUUC after serving as our community life coordinator when the pandemic began in 2020. She has been the community minister of the Chaplaincy Institute Seminary and Community since November 2020. She is deeply honored to be accompanying Sarah Lewis, our Director of Community and Faith Development, as her path to ordination nears completion. Carrie is a lifelong UU. She enjoys feeding hummingbirds who zoom through her backyard, strolling through the neighborhood with her spouse at the speed of a sniffy little dog, and spending time with her beloved young adult offspring. We're grateful to all who are helping to make worship happen this morning. Thanks to our ushers and greeters, breakout room hosts, tech team members, the youth staffing the nursery, eager for the return of our young ones, and all who contribute in so many ways. If you are new to OUUC, welcome. We'd love to stay in touch. You can fill out a visitor card at the chat link in the chat, or please talk to a greeter. After the service, everyone will have a chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Carrie. This is the time to connect with a small group to check in, catch up, and reflect on the service. For those online, we invite you to join a breakout room for a virtual discussion. Each breakout group will be hosted by someone to ensure we come to know each other and have a chance to share. For those of you in the sanctuary, please find the reflection questions printed on the order of service and bring them into your discussions. Or if you would like to join a group, please gather in the back corner. We encourage you to join a discussion wherever you are. Next, we have a recorded message from our dedicated environmental action team.
Hi, my name is Wendy. I'm a member of the Environmental Action Team here at OUUC. For this month, the environmental goal is to eat less meat. Now, we know that everyone has different dietary habits and needs. So this isn't about shaming you or making a one-size-fits-all recipe for everybody. But consider this. The global production of food is responsible for 1/3 of all planet heating gases emitted by human activity, 1/3. And the use of animals for meat causes twice the amount of pollution than using plants. So by cutting your meat consumption, you are helping curb carbon into the environment and reducing global warming. In the coming month, see if you can decrease the amount of meat you can consume and set a goal for yourself. For example, if you usually eat meat once a day, try cutting that down to 3 times a week. And if you already eat not very much meat, see if you can decrease that amount by about half for the month, and so on. Check out the website Meatless Mondays or Hold the Beef for more information and for motivation. For the earth, have a great day.
April 3rd at noon, please plan to join in a short ritual to bless our sanctuary. This live event will feature words, music, and the chance to offer our blessings to this shared space that we can once again bless with our presence. For those who attend the worship service in person, we invite you to stay after the service and reflection circles for hot beverages outside until the blessing begins at noon. You may attend inside or outside, however you are comfortable. There are many opportunities to stay connected to our community, so check the website regularly. If you have questions or need help, please check in with a staff member. Now let us pause. May we open our hearts and minds as we prepare for worship. Welcome, everyone. It is good to be together. This morning and every Sunday morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. Please join me as we light our chalices together with Derek Walcott's poem, Love After Love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image off the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. Our opening words are by T.S. Eliot. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Come, let us worship together.
Let's join together in singing our opening hymn, which is hymn number 128 out of the gray hymnal. And you can also find the lyrics for the hymn posted in the chat. Hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life.
Our story this morning is called Hide and Seek with God, written by Marianne Moore. One day, a group of children were hanging out on the playground playing, and one said, "I know, let's play hide and seek." And the other children said, "Yes, let's play hide and seek." And then appeared God and said, "I'd like to play. Can I be the person who hides? Can I be the one who hides?" And the children said, "Yes, yes, let's play. We'll count to 10." And they covered their eyes. 7, 8, 9, 10. Ready or not, here I come. One child found their way into the woods. The giant trees were above them. There was a big river flowing to the sea next to them. They sat down on a boulder covered with moss. It smelled delicious, and they thought and felt, and soon they said, "I think I found God. God is in the trees and in the river and in the rocks and in the moss." Another child climbed a big, big hill and sat down to watch the sunset. As it got darker and darker, the stars came out and they were twinkling, and the child looked up and could see the Milky Way and Orion. The child knew that those stars were so far away that it had taken a very, very long time for the light to get to them. And the child thought, what an amazing universe I live in. The stars are sparkling above me. I am part of the stars. I am part of the universe. And the child said, "I think I found God. God is the whole universe." Another child was walking along a path as the sun set and after. And it got darker and darker and very, very quiet. It was so peaceful and quiet. The child said, "I wonder, I feel some mystery about this darkness. It's so quiet. It makes me really, really think. I'm not sure if this is God, but I do wonder about the mystery." That same night, another child was walking home and seeing all the people run to the store to pick up dinner on their way home from work. And the child watched a group of people come out of the store with food. And a person approached them and said, "Friends, I am so hungry. Do you have any food to spare?" And a group of people said, "Sure, we have food to spare." And they went to the park nearby and they lit a fire and they found a big cauldron, and somebody gave carrots and somebody gave potatoes and somebody gave onions, and they cooked up a big stew. The child watched this, and they watched all the people eat together and take care of each other. And the child thought, "I think I've found God in people loving each other. God is people caring. God is love." Another child went home to their house and had dinner with their family. And as they were brushing their teeth and getting ready for bed, they looked into the mirror and they saw themselves. They saw the miracle that they were. They saw their ancestors. They saw the future. They said, "I think I've found God. God is in me, and God is in you." The next day, the children all came back to the playground, and they met up and they said, "I found God in nature. I think I found God in the universe. I think I found God in people helping each other and love. I'm not sure if I found God, but I really enjoyed wondering and the mystery. I found God in me and in you." Well, God popped up and said, "Oh, you brilliant children, you're all right. I had such fun playing. Would you like to play again?" And the children said, "Yes, let's play again. We'll count to 10. That's our story for today. in community this morning, bringing all that is in our lives. In this space, we draw on the strength of community to hold all that we bring here with us. In this space, virtual and on-site, we share from our hearts what brings us joy and sorrow, what brings us worry and delight, what makes us afraid, and what makes us dance. Let's open our hearts to the complexity of life, our own and others. If you would like to send in something to share, please look for the link in the online worship page on the OUUC website, and it will be brought to the service next week. You will hear a drum beat as we share today. It brings into our awareness that our individual hearts beat, and together we create the heartbeat of the community. As we share, we place stones in the water, stones holding the complexity of our lives. They're placed in the water of community. Right now, I invite you to take a breath as we open our hearts to receive the complexity of all that is in our lives and community today. I invite you to share from your heart by entering in the chat on your screen. This is a time to share all that you wish, joys and sorrows and whatever else is shared from your heart. As we take what is posted in, let us hear the heartbeat of the community and reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share. For those on site today, I invite you to come forward if there is something you would like to bring into this community. You may place a stone into the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. We also invite choir members from the Commons into the sanctuary to share. Please come forward through the center aisle and return to your seats by the outside aisles. We place a stone in the water for all that has been shared from the heart. A stone holding the complexity of our lives, held in the water of community. we place one more stone in the water for all we hold in our hearts that remain unspoken. I invite us now into a time of reflection and prayer. Spirit of life and love, known by many names, universe, love, hope, help. We honor all of the things shared in the chat, personally, here with the stones, and things that are held in the heart. We honor the suffering in the world, in Ukraine and many other places. We honor the joy of new babies born, of the spring. It is such a joy to hold those things together, the pain and the sorrow and the loss, because here we are, many hands holding together. May it be so, and let us hold a moment of silence together.
As we celebrate OUUC's first Spring Stewardship Drive, the stewardship team has a video message for us.
Growing into the future, I think for OUUC is obviously going to have some sort of virtual component. I think for the last 2 years, we've gotten used to being able to spend Sunday mornings in front of our TV or computer and be in our pajamas. And having that might be a little bit of a challenge, and at the same time gives us this amazing opportunity to tap into people who might be 2 hours away but have always wanted to attend our services, or even expanding to people who have moved away but would still like to participate.
To grow our community, I think the first step is having open hearts and open minds, and being together, getting to know the other members of OUUC and seeing the value of reaching out beyond our walls into the community, and supporting what we have here. So supporting the programs, supporting our staff, supporting the mission of OUUC. So my obligation as a member of this OUUC community is to participate financially in that. One of the things I appreciated early on when I became involved in OUUC was it was really clear and just kind of put out there that your responsibility as a member of this congregation is not just to show up on Sundays and soak it all in, but to give back and to help hold things together. And that meant a financial commitment to our ability to be able to participate financially. So I see that as just foundational to us being able to continue into the future as OUUC.
We also, besides enjoying the fruits of this beautiful community, we owe it to keep supporting it in the best ways that we can, and speaking financially as well as in our service. And I hope that people will open their pockets as well as their hearts as they respond to the needs of this beloved community.
I like to give, if we're talking about giving money, I like to give because I like what's happening here. And then I know my money's going towards that. So that advances the things that I value.
I feel very optimistic about the future of OUUC. I think there's a lot of energy here, and even though we've been through a couple of really strange years, we have come through that together as a community and found new ways to be together as a community, new ways to reach out beyond the walls of this building, and I feel very optimistic about where we're going.
So I feel a sense of gratitude for what happens here at OUUC, and that's what I want to give to. That's why I want to give, because of what's happening. And that makes me happy.
Our prayers and meditations deepen our gratitude for what we hold sacred in our lives and in this world. Each Sunday, we express our gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. The offering collected here does two things. It supports the ongoing work of OUUC, which is also supported by your regular pledges. The offering also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Olympia Unitarian Universalist values. This month, our Share the Plate recipient is Olympia Mutual Aid Partners, or OLIMAP. They would like to share this recorded message.
Hello, OUUC. My name is Ty Gundel, and I'm the Program Manager for Olympia Mutual Aid Partners, also known as OLIMAP. We are so glad and humbled to be a Share the Plate recipient this year. OLIMAP's mission is to support the right of all people to a safe and warm place to call home, in part by providing health, safety, and stability support to our neighbors who are surviving outdoors in camp communities. OLIMAP provides support to specific camp communities through Thurston County's Scattered Site Pilot Project. The purpose of the project is to pilot an alternative response to unsheltered homelessness that relies on connection to services through outreach-based case management and site support to address health and safety concerns, as well as community impacts. One of the greatest causes of trauma and crisis for those that we work with is lack of access to some of the most basic and essential of human needs, like shelter and warmth. OUUC intends to use Share the Plate funds to provide residents of scattered sites with access to essential survival and warming supplies like tents, tarps, sleeping bags, propane vouchers, and fire extinguishers. It may take years before we are able to end unsheltered homelessness in our community. However, there are steps that we can take now to ensure that no one in our community is without access to the most basic of shelter and warmth. While some of those steps may seem like Band-Aids, they are acts that uphold justice, equity, and compassion. Even more, providing support and shelter and warmth to people, regardless of the reason for their circumstances, is a means of practicing acceptance of one another, and also a means of demonstrating to our unhoused community members that their community believes in their inherent worth as human beings and in the value of their lives. We have no doubt that the support we will be able to provide with the help of Share the Plate will bring relief, safety, and stability to many members of our community in the coming years. Thank you again.
You may participate in the offering by making a donation online through the church website or by texting the number that appears on your screen. You may also mail a check to OUUC or place your offering in a basket that the usher passes to you. Our Share the Plate recipients are selected because we value their contributions to our community and wish to support their continued good work. May the offering now be generously given, as it will be gratefully received.
Rise up, follow me.
Thank you for your generous gifts. This morning's reading is from The Pearl by Reverend Linda Hagerstone. The tiny grain, a speck of grit, soon begins to grow, becoming full and moon-shaped. It grows within me till the time comes. The womb-like chamber of my heart opens wide, and the pearl wakes, breathing the first breath of a new dawn. This ends our reading. I haven't been in this building, I think, since that topsy-turvy Sunday morning of the first virtual service back in March of 2020. And still, being here today feels like coming home. So I'm going to share some tender things with you and trust that you wonderful people will come with me on this journey. Let's take a minute and ground again. I invite you to take 3 big, deep breaths In through the nose and out through the mouth, if it's available. And then we invite our bodies to catch up with our souls by looking up as far as we can if it's available. And then looking down. Over one shoulder if you can. And then over the other. Drop your shoulders. Loosen your jaw. Arrive here together. I used to choose a word for the year. In December, I would sit down with my journal and write until I got settled into goals related to career, relationships, health, and spirit. I would spend time with those thoughts until a word kind of fell out. My colleague and friend, religious educator Tim Atkins, who serves in Oklahoma and has served on our Unitarian Universalist Association's Board of Trustees and in other denominational roles, taught me this practice. Since 2019, he has shared a piece for the UU Worship Web about this process, so it might sound familiar to you. In late December of 2019 or early January of 2020, I chose the word become. I had been approved as a candidate for ordination by the Chaplaincy Institute. I had accepted an invitation for a chaplain residency at St. Joe's in Tacoma, and also to train as a CPE educator, a clinical pastoral care educator. The wonderful job I had been doing for 4 years was winding down. I was becoming all of these new things. I sat with my magazines and scissors and Mod Podge and prayed a hopeful prayer. Be ready. Here and now. Make it your year of thriving, planning ahead, be proactive. It's right here on this little table. There's even a clipping of a picture of a labyrinth in the lower right side, I think, upper right side. Not one thing that I expected for 2020 happened in the way that I anticipated. Nothing. That job I had planned to leave carefully and lovingly ended more quickly than I anticipated. My ordination was postponed at the very last minute because of COVID, eventually happening in a virtual ceremony in late June. My mother died halfway across the country on the day after my ordination. Many of you were right by my side as all that happened. That's why this is home. In the fall of 2020, I began my chaplain residency, but when it became clear to me that I could spread COVID to our patients, I couldn't make myself go into patient rooms. I couldn't even make myself go into the hospital. So I had to resign. All those words I cut out, all those plans to become went sideways and upside down. I had traveled down a path that seemed to be heading forward toward a goal, moving ahead, reaching, and then the path turned back on itself. And then it moved ahead and it turned back. They were like winding switchbacks. I had to soften that plan of becoming. The sharp edges of striving for what I aspired to do, to create the very way I planned to become, all the things had to shift and change. It wasn't all good. If my ordination hadn't been postponed until June, maybe I could have been bedside when my mom slipped away from this life. I could have held her hand and sung her favorite hymns. If COVID had not swept through, I would have continued my chaplain training, and a very different path of ministry might have unfolded for me. Maybe good, but maybe not. I didn't do so well in a Catholic hospital. And if things hadn't gone sideways, I wouldn't have been in this building when word came in March 2020 that schools were closing and the UUA president, the Unitarian Universalist Association's president, was recommending not to meet in person. Sarah wouldn't have told Reverend Mary that she'd seen me tape a phone to a chair and go live. True story. Together, we figured that whole thing out. Those weeks in the early pandemic were so tender and so fraught. And at the same time, in community, we found spots of joy. I remember the meetings where we had to practice using Zoom. We would pass the host role around and practice muting and unmuting and sharing our screen. And we laughed together as we all learned new things. We helped each other. We were scared and we were mourning and we were bereft, and yet we could soften, turn, shift, find our way with joy and hope and love. If things hadn't gone sideways, I would not have called my colleague at the Chaplaincy Institute to see if they needed anything while I looked for work after I left the hospital. I wouldn't have learned that their community minister had just resigned 12 hours before I called. And I wouldn't be about to accompany my 24th candidate for ordination as they take their vows, receive the blessing of community with the laying on of hands, and be ordained. If things hadn't gone sideways, would I have slowed down, considered my values, my authentic being? Would I have been striving and grinding and pushing through, focused on reaching the goal, getting the achievement, staying on schedule, moving forward, onward, ahead? The truth is, I'm happy. I love my job. I love my ministry. I love my spiritual direction practice. I am healthy, except for a recently broken wrist. I am spiritually grounded and balanced and more together than I think I have ever been. The path that seemed to turn and turn and turn has allowed me to move forward in alignment with my authentic being. It's brought me home to myself. There are other questions that this raises for me. Why the grind, the striving, the pushing through? Why do we do this? I think there are many, many things that we can point to. The Protestant work ethic, late-stage capitalism that values achievement over all else. I also wonder, though, is there something within the constellation of culture that causes some of us to just feel like we're not enough unless we strive and grind and push? When we slow down and soften and align, maybe that's the point, when we become the people, the culture, the community we long to be. I think about a newborn baby, the complete, holy, sacred being that is a tiny, fresh baby. They do have to work so hard to learn to walk and to feed themselves and to talk, all the things that new babies need to learn. They don't grind, they don't strive. Most babies just go day by day, learning, growing, becoming 2 and then 5. It's a joyful becoming, clear, clean, unfolding. I hold very tenderly my ministry now and what brought me to answer the call to ministry. I keep a bell on my altar at home to remind me of that call, to remind me to come home when I get tangled in too many to-do lists. The softening, aligning with authentic identity and coming home can apply many places. We can do this with institutions. Not too long ago, I attended a Zoom birthday party for the founder of the Chaplaincy Institute, where I serve as the community minister. She dreamed of this whole school and community, and then she loved it into being. She shared stories from her life, from the time of the inspiration for Chi and time of creating art installations and writing and teaching all over the world. She's a living inspiration of what happens when we become the people we dream of being. I don't want to go back to how the school was in 1999. And I want to come home to the dream of healing and oneness that came to her on a hilltop in India one sweltering night some 30 years ago. I noticed that as I let go of too many meetings, too many projects, too many data-driven goals, I become aligned and aware and awake in a way that allows that becoming of her dream to actually flow. And here at OUUC, do you remember what brought you through the door or to the Zoom invitation or the YouTube link? Maybe you just got here today, or maybe last year, or maybe decades ago. What might happen when you remember that call, that spark? As we assemble here on site and online, how do we align with that spark? Might the becoming we seek emerge gently sometimes, softly, releasing the striving and the pushing through. I honor this turning back and round again that's been my path for these last few years. Labyrinths finish where they began. They turn and they switch and they go and then they come back home, back to where we started, back to that true identity, that core, that sacred holiness of a newborn baby. I honor this turning back and around that's been my path these last few years. And I believe, as the hymn says, that all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good. Becoming the beloved community we all dream of is good and beautiful. The world needs our healing so much. Still, there's nothing so beautiful as being where we belong, as emerging into the aligned, alive people we long to be. May we all know that, like the child playing hide and seek who looked into the mirror, may we all know the very spark of the universe deep inside ourselves. Home, here, home. I have a song to sing for you. Forgive my emotion-cracked voice. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing in storm and rain, sorrow and pain still will remain, singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears through all the years, singing. May we dance in this labyrinth of life. This belongs, the pain belongs, the joy belongs, the slow connecting to who we really are belongs. May we continue to dance together, taking care of each other here in community. Always with joy, always coming home. Let's be in silence together.
been lovely to have you here today, Reverend Carey. Thank you for all you've done for OUUC and for its music director particularly, so that I could navigate Zoom. Let's sing our closing hymn together, hymn number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. You can find the words posted in the chat. Thank you for singing.
Please remember that online and on-site reflection groups will gather next, and then we'll enjoy Melanie's talk show at 11:30. If you've lit a candle or a chalice, please join me as we extinguish our chalice with these words by Eric Williams. Blessed is the path on which you travel. Blessed is the body that carries you upon it. Blessed is your heart that has heard the call. Truly blessed is the gift that you become on the journey. May we move in peace.
Let's join together in singing our unison benediction.